Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy. Make sure to hit the subscribe, like, and share buttons. Well, what we're going to talk about today should come as no surprise because the Bible foretold it a long time ago. So let's take a look at this right here. This is from the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verses 16 through 17. It says, "He required everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be given a mark on the right hand or on the forehead, and no one could buy or sell anything without that mark, which was either the name of the beast or the number representing his name." So we would expect to see a cashless society emerge, one where the government has control over the ability to buy and sell. They'll be able to peer into every financial transaction that's taking place on the earth. We would expect to see that. So along those lines, let's take a look at this story right here. Well, not really a story. This is a paper that was put together a little over a year ago by Christine Lagarde and Fabio Panetta. So Christine Lagarde is president of the European Central Bank. Fabio Panetta is a member of the European Central Bank and an Italian economist. And this is about key objectives of the digital euro. So if we scroll down a little bit, I'm not going to read this whole story. I'll put the link in the description if you want to go read all of this. But let's come down here to central bank money for the digital age, where they write, "That is why 1 year ago," and again, this was over a year ago, "the European Central Bank launched the Digital Euro project." A digital euro would be an electronic means of payment issued by the central bank and accessible to everyone in the euro area. A digital euro would complement cash, not replace it, by allowing central bank money to also be used in digital form. This would expand the availability of digital central bank money beyond its current use for transactions between banks to also include everyone's daily payments. So it's going to be inclusive. Everyone will get to use it. But of course, let's look at the key passage here. Is they say, well, this is going to complement cash, not replace cash. Oh, we would never do that. We would never take away cash. Keep in mind, a system such as the one we just read about in the book of Revelation would be impossible if people are still able to use physical cash, because you can't track that the way you can digital currency. And so here we have the European Central Bank saying, don't worry about this. Well, the digital euro would complement cash. I don't think that's by mistake. It doesn't say will complement cash. It says would, almost as if, well, it would have, but we're going to change our mind on that, right? It's not going to replace it. Our intent, if you remember, we run across all these stories all the time where they say, we don't intend to do this. And then later we find out, oh, we did it, right? So one of those was about a year ago. We went over a story where they said scientists are developing mosquitoes in a lab that carry a certain type of medicine so that when they bite people, it gives people the medicine, right? And they said, but don't worry, this is just in a lab. It's a very highly secure lab. There's no intent to release these into the wild. And then 1 year later, we have a story where they say, oh, we released them into the wild, right? So they didn't intend to when the story was run, but then they changed their mind and went ahead and did it, right? And you can make up your mind as to whether they intended to from day one. I think they did. But again, here we have the digital euro would complement cash, not to replace it. Well, let's fast forward because that was a year ago. Now, again, this isn't the European Central Bank, but this is the International Monetary Fund. It says IMF says central bank digital currencies can replace cash. Quote, "This is not the time to turn back." And guys, that's That's more than just a statement. That's a call to action for central bankers all over the world. They're saying, hey, don't pull back. Don't get wobbly now. Now's the time to do this, right? That's what they're essentially saying here. So it says IMF's Kristalina Georgieva said that the public sector should keep preparing to deploy central bank digital currencies and related payment platforms in the future. We have not yet reached land. There's so much more space for innovation and so much uncertainty over use cases, she said. As of June 2023, only 11 countries have adopted central bank digital currencies, according to data from the Atlantic Council. And keep in mind, that's full-fledged adopted at the retail level. Almost every nation in the world is pursuing this right now. So let's read this. It says, central bank digital currencies have the potential to replace cash, but adoption could take time, said Kristalina Georgieva, managing director of the International Monetary Fund on Wednesday. So I'm going to translate this as we go along. What she's saying is, we could do this, we could implement this, and we would have everyone in the world at our mercy, but it's going to take a little bit of time, right? But we can't let up. She says CBDCs can replace cash, which is costly to distribute in island economies. Oh, it's so costly to use cash, right? So costly. Is she forgetting all the transaction fees that are associated with credit cards and debit cards? They charge a fee off of everyone. I'm unaware of that happening with cash. They can offer resilience in more advanced economies. Not sure what that means. And they can improve financial inclusion where few hold bank accounts. Let me translate that for you. Financial inclusion where few hold bank accounts means, hey, there's a bunch of poor people, or we call them unbanked people, who only use cash. They don't have a bank account, and there's no way we can track what they're doing. We need to do something about that. We need to get them into the system. We need to herd them into our system so that we can track them and, of course, thus control them. Central bank digital currencies are the digital form of a country's fiat currency, which are regulated by the country's central bank. They are powered by blockchain technology, allowing central banks to channel government payments directly to households. So notice all of this. We have fiat currency, which has no store of value, controlled by the government, controlled by the central bank, which is this quasi-government private oligarchy, and used by the government to channel payments directly to households. In other words, to control and manipulate. Central bank digital currencies would offer a safe and low-cost alternative to cash. They would also offer a bridge to go between private monies and a yardstick to measure their value, just like cash today, which we can withdraw from our banks. So, again, fiat currencies have no store of value. They're not backed by anything, which is why we're going through the inflationary problems we have today. So, to say they're a yardstick to measure anything is ridiculous. Imagine if you go to build a house and you have that yardstick, but the measurements keep changing. What was a centimeter yesterday is different today, and it'll be different tomorrow. What was an inch yesterday or a foot yesterday is different today, and it'll be different tomorrow. You wouldn't be able to build that house. It would turn out pretty poorly. That's what we're dealing with right now with fiat currencies, where the government can simply print more into existence or take some out of existence. They can manipulate the currency supply in a way that they can't if it's a store of value such as gold or silver or copper, as it was for much of human history. It says the IMF has said that more than 100 countries are exploring CBDCs, or approximately 60% of the countries of the world. And I don't know if that's exactly an accurate statement or not, but I would say that if it is, those countries represent 95% of the global population. Because right now there's some level of some phase of the rollout of these encompassing 95% of the people on Earth. It says the level of global interest in central bank digital currencies is unprecedented. In other words, hey, central banks have determined we can really control people with these. We have a lot of interest in this, right? It's unprecedented. Several central banks have already launched pilots or even issued a CBDC, they said in a September report. According to a 2022 survey conducted by the Bank for International Settlements, of the 86 central banks surveyed, 93% said they were exploring CBDCs, while 58% said they were likely to or may possibly issue issue a retail CBDC in either the short or medium term. Again, define short and medium term. Guys, they're all going to do it. All of them. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. All of them are going to do it. It says, but as of June, only 11 countries have adopted CBDCs, with an additional 53 in advanced planning stages, 46 researching the topic. Now I'm doing the math there. So 53 plus 46 is 99, plus 11 is 110. And a minute ago they said 100. Which one is it? According to so the data is different between these different organizations. It says, referring to a 2018 speech by her predecessor, Christine Lagarde. So who did we just read from? Well, she's now president of the European Central Bank, saying, oh, don't worry, central bank digital currencies, they're there to complement cash as a convenience. If you want to use them or not, if whatever, you can use cash, right? It's not going to replace it. So she was the predecessor to the woman who's now saying, oh, they can replace cash. Let's get to it. Come on. Gotta get moving. It says, when the former IMF chief encouraged policymakers to follow the winds of change and explore the use of CBDCs. 5 years on, I'm here to provide an update on that voyage. So she's providing an update on Christine Lagarde's work. The same person who promised us, oh no, cash isn't going away. First, countries did set sail. Many are investigating central bank digital currencies and are developing regulation to guide digital money developments. In other words, we're putting the network together and the rules so that we can control all these smaller countries. We can bring them under our purview. And of course, the Bank of International Settlements, they're involved in this as well. And it's not just the currency that we're going to dominate. We're also going to provide tokens. We're going to digitize every asset on the planet, every house, every piece of land, every stock, every financial security, so that we can track who owns those as well, right? And that's part of the Bank of International Settlements plan that we went over before. It says on Wednesday, the fund launched a CBDC handbook as a reference guide for policymakers around the world. In other words, as we put this out here, here are your marching orders. Here's your instructions of how you're going to set this up. Georgia Eva said many countries are investigating CBDCs and developing regulation to guide digital money developments. I think that's exactly what she just said right there. We don't need to read that twice. It says, second, we have not yet reached land. In other words, we haven't subjugated the people yet, but we're working on it. There's so much more space for innovation and so much uncertainty over use cases, she told an audience. So what in the world does that mean? We're talking about digital payments. Haven't we figured that out? Where's the innovation come in? What innovation is she talking about? Well, the innovation she's talking about is, well, there's so much space for innovation in programming these digital currencies in order to control you, right? And there's so much uncertainty over use cases where, should we even allow you to exist? We got to figure out those rules first. Who are we going to cut off? And who are we going to allow to exist? And, how programmable can we make these things? We're going to talk about that in a second. And guys, I have to laugh at this because otherwise you go insane like these people who want to control everything. So it doesn't mean that I'm taking this lightly. It just means I like to laugh at some of this stuff. And she says, in some countries, the case seems dim today. It seems like, in my opinion, the case seems dim across the board. But her view is, if they don't roll this out, that's dim because it doesn't give her power. But even if they should remain open to potentially deploy CBDCs tomorrow, but even they should remain open, she says. Why? This is not the time to turn back. I don't know why that's a reason. So why should you be open to CBDCs? Because it's not the time to turn back. Well, what is that? It's a call to arms, guys. She's calling out all the central bankers saying, don't get wobbly now. Don't chicken out. Now's the time. We need to act if we want to subjugate all of humanity and bring them under our control. We have to hurry up and act quickly. You can't get all wobbly and talking about freedom and liberty and privacy on us now. We gotta act now. She says the public sector should keep preparing to deploy CBDCs and related payment platforms in the future. Fourth, these platforms should be designed from the start to facilitate cross-border payments, including with CBDCs. In other words, from the very beginning, let's figure out how we can control not just people within a certain border, but people on the other sides of those borders as well who might use these currencies. Countries that have issued retail CBDC include the Bahamas, Jamaica, and Nigeria. And I would say Nigeria, the people rejected it. It says Singapore's monetary authority has said that cash is generally incompatible with the digital economy. How so? In a 2021 report, the country's central bank said the demand for cash as a means of payment is set to decline further. According to the Bank of International Settlements, using CBDCs for cross-border payments could lower the cost of obtaining, storing, and spending foreign currency, depending on design and regulations. Georgieva also said that artificial intelligence could amplify some of the benefits of CBDCs by providing accurate credit scoring and personalized support. So what does she mean there? Well, she means, if we've got artificial intelligence, that can amplify these benefits. Benefits to you? No. Benefits to them? Yes. It means we can really sift through this data on all these transactions and really hone in on some key behaviors that we don't like so that we can discipline those people, right? That's what that means. Demand for generative AI has boomed following the release of OpenAI's ChatGPT in November last year, which was estimated to have reached 100 million monthly active users within 2 months after launch. It could improve financial inclusion. There we go. That means there's some people that only use cash. We got to bring them into the gated fence, right? Those cattle have escaped the fence. We need to bring them in. Accurate credit scoring based on various data. What that means is your social credit score. This artificial intelligence can help make sure that people have accurate social credit scores because we don't want anyone transacting who isn't approved by the state to transact. It can provide personalized support to people with low financial literacy. In other words, again, financial inclusion. These people that are unbanked, we need to bring them in. We need to control them too. To be sure, we need to protect personal privacy and data security and avoid embedded biases so we don't perpetuate inequality, but aim to reduce it. Managed prudently, AI could help. Translation, yeah, I know you people are concerned about privacy and data security. Yeah, I'm going to throw in a line there that we intend to respect that. And of course, we're going to avoid embedded biases. Which ones? We're not really sure. And we don't see our own biases as biases. So those will be in there. Don't worry about that. And, we don't want to perpetuate this inequality, but aim to reduce it. As we said, there are these people that are only using cash, especially these poor people. And we need to make sure that we control them too. So we're going to reduce this inequality by controlling them as well. And managed prudently. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means if we do this right, if we don't chicken out, now's not the time to turn back. If we go for it, wow, we will control the world. That's what all of this means, guys. Guys, no doubt about it. This is where they're going. They're not going to give up on this. I wish I could say, oh, well, we could avoid this dystopian future by doing these things. But guys, the Bible, as we just read, tells us, unfortunately, these people will succeed. Now, whether the mark of the beast system is this particular system, I don't know. But no doubt that system is being put in place. The infrastructure is being built. The foundation is being laid. The stage is being set for the mark of the beast system to roll out. And what she's describing here is indistinguishable in function from the mark of the beast system. They will be able to regulate and see every financial transaction on the face of the earth with a system like this. And they will be able to determine who can buy or sell, who can use it. No doubt about it, they will do that. So guys, told you before, I like to laugh. So I'm going to show you a cartoon. Hopefully you think it's funny as well. This was from Wall Street Silver. It's along these lines. It says 2030, when you're not allowed to eat today because your smart fridge saw that meme you liked on Instagram. And guys, all good humor has an element of truth in it. And this, God, unfortunately, this is a whole lot more than an element of truth. We already see this taking place in China with vending machines. If your social credit score is too low, the vending machine won't work for you. How long before it's your refrigerator, before the government says, going forward, all refrigerator manufacturers have to have the switch in here that allows the government to close it, to lock it if somebody's credit score is too low? It's going to happen. And then there will be this big black market for refrigerators that still work from the time before the manufacturers started making this. But of course, people will have to barter those. You won't be able to use your digital cash to buy one because that'll be illegal. So guys, this is serious stuff. I still like to laugh at it. That's how I deal with some of these things. But guys, the reason I can laugh at it is because even though we see this coming and we know that these people will succeed in this plan that they've hatched, I do know this: Jesus is coming back and he will do away with all of this. Justice will prevail on earth when Jesus comes back. And guys, all this is doing is telling us we are nearing that day. So the mark of the beast system rolls out at the midpoint of the tribulation. This is telling us we're getting closer and closer to that point in time. And that means we're closer and closer to the second coming of Jesus Christ. And guys, that is good news. That can lift the weight from your shoulders. That's what Jesus does. So don't let all this stuff bother you. Don't let it bring you down. Don't let it demoralize you. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. Make sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And God willing, I will see you on Wednesday. Bye. If you want to learn more about the end times and Bible prophecy, make sure to sign up for my free monthly newsletter and get your copy of my free ebook, 7 Signs of the End Times. Just follow the link in the description to get your free book. Also, make sure to check out all of my books. Just look up Britt on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, Google Books, Kobo, or anywhere books are sold. Thanks for watching today, and until next time, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith.